Hey up, me ducks. Welcome back to Learn British with Aaron. That's me, Aaron. So whether it's love, mate, or bab, British pet names explained. That's what we're talking about today. British terms of endearment and what we really call each other. All right, quick warning. In Britain, someone can call you love and it's not romantic. Someone can call you mate and they might not be your best friend. Or they might be about to start an argument. And someone can call you duck and you'll think, why am I being called a farm animal? Can someone tell me what's going on here? So today we're doing British terms of endearment, what they mean, who says them, where they come from, and how to use them without sounding like you're reading subtitles off Netflix. Because UK English is affectionate, confusing, and occasionally passive-aggressive. Let's go. So what are terms of endearment? They're basically friendly or affectionate names you use instead of someone's actual name, like love, mate, hun, darling, or babe. In lots of countries, these are usually romantic, but in the UK, they can be romantic or they can be the most normal thing in the world said to a complete stranger in Tesco. So if you're learning English and someone says, "You all right, love?" Don't panic. They're not proposing. They're just being British. And one more thing, it's a very, very regional. Like 2 hours up the road and the whole country speaks a different language. That's right. You can travel 2 hours away and it's a whole different language. Even we sometimes don't understand. All right, let's start with the most common ones you'll hear all over the UK. The first one is love. You'll hear love constantly. Examples of this. You all right, love? Cheers, love. Here you go, love. And usually it just means friendly, warm, and casual. It's often said by shop workers, older people, northerners, but not only northerners, and people who are just friendly. Now, listen, if you're not British, don't force it, because if you say love in the wrong way, it can sound like you're acting. So my advice, learn to understand it first, then use it naturally. Once you've heard it a lot, slip it in there. Okay, love? Right, moving on. Next, we have lovely. Lovely is like love's polite cousin. Thanks, lovely. All right, lovely. Cheers, lovely. Again, usually friendly. Often people being kind or customer service. Next, we have mate. Now, mate is a big one. Mate is a massive one. We all use mate. Everyone's got a mate. And because mate has two personalities, friendly mate, all right, mate, how you doing, mate? Nice one, mate. But then there's the other mate, angry mate, mean angry mate. Listen, mate. Right, mate. Mate, just don't start, mate. That's the difference. It's tone. British English is basically same words, different tone. Completely different meaning. If a British person says mate twice in one sentence, you're about to politely get destroyed. Next up is hun. Okay, hun. You'll see hun in a lot of texts. You okay, hun? Thanks, hun. This can generally mean sweet, but sometimes hun is used when someone is being slightly passive-aggressive. So, you're right, hun. Okay, hun. Do whatever you want, hun. You know. You can always hear the eye roll through the screen. So, again, tone and context matter. Next up, we have darling. You're right, darling. Darling is a bit old school, but still used. You're right, darling. Thanks, darling. It's warm, it's friendly, it's often said by older people or someone who's got that mum energy. Then we have sweetheart. Sweetheart is similar. It's all right, sweetheart. Here you go, sweetheart. Very comforting. Sometimes used when someone is being kind to you. Like if you look stressed, lost, or you've just dropped something and British people want to help, but without making it deep. Next up, we've got babe. Now, babe can be romantic, obviously, but it's also used casually sometimes. So your partner might go, all right, babe, love you, babe. Friends will use it more casually, like, thanks, babe, see you later, babe. But if you're learning English, I'd say babe is safer with people you actually know, not strangers. Because calling a random stranger babe in Britain can either be a bit weird, flirty, or you sound like you're trying to start something. So choose wisely. Now, next up, we're going to move on to regional. The regional ones, this is the fun part. Now we're getting into the good stuff. This is where Britain becomes Pokemon. Different towns, different worlds. First up is Bab. If you hear Bab, you're probably in the Midlands, like Birmingham, Black Country, that kind of area. You're right, Bab. Cheers, Bab. It's basically like love, but very Midlands. If someone calls you Bab, you've been accepted. Duck. Now, this is my favourite. Duck originates from my town. I mean, the East Midlands tried to say that they started it, but we're the ones who made it popular. Good old Staffordshire. Now, duck is famous. And yes, people genuinely say it. You're right, duck. Hey up me, duck. Thanks, duck. In Staffordshire, we use it all the time. You'll never hear anyone say any of the others. It's just duck. Everything's duck. Logos of it all around the city. Now, that is why I start this channel with Hey up me, ducks. Because that is our saying. It's common. It is common in the East Midlands, places like Nottingham, Derby, and some other nearby areas. But we're the ones that made it famous. Remember that. And for foreigners, this is always funny because you think, why am I a duck? Where did this come from? But it's normal here. No beards involved, no ponds, just pure British chaos. So the next time someone says, hey up me duck, you're not a farm animal. They just say hello. Next one, we have pet. If you hear pet, you might be up northeast. So that's places like Newcastle and Sunderland. That's the real top of the top of England. So examples, you'll get, you're right, pet. Thanks, pet. Again, it's warm, friendly, and local. Next up, we have flower. Flower is another one, often in the Yorkshire northern vibe areas. All right, flower, ta flower. Sounds like something your gran would say, and that's exactly why it's brilliant. Okay, so we have lad and lass. Now, this is used in a few places, but it's mainly used up north. Lad and lass are more general in the north. Working class Britain vibe, that's what we are. All right, lad, how you doing, lad? All right, lass. Nice one, lass. It's friendly, casual, and not necessarily romantic at all. Pal. Pal's up next. Now, pal, it's a bit risky. Because pal can be friendly, or it can be the beginning of a problem. So, the friendly pal will be like, you all right, pal? All right, pal. Angry pal will be, listen, pal. Right, pal. Again, it's tone. Britain is just vibes. We're just living off the vibes. Friendly versus flirty versus angry. The tone meter. All right, let's just make it simple. Friendly. Usually friendly. We've got love, mate, lovely, darling, and sweetheart. Now, all of these depend on person and setting, but you can be safe with these that most of these are always going to be friendly. Let's give it a try. A barista saying, you're right, love, is friendly. Now, let's get into the flirty romantic tone. In terms of endearment, you'll have babe, baby, my love, gorgeous, and handsome. If someone says, all right, gorgeous, that can be flirting. Or it can be a confident older woman just being nice. Now, plenty of older women do say this to me. I'm just a normal British guy trying to go about his own business. And I can't help what older women have to say when I come walking past. Britain, again, is massively confusing. Right, now moving on, we've got the angry and tense tone. Words that become dangerous with the wrong tone. And that is mate, pal, boss, sometimes, depending on how you say it and who the person is. My friend, when they don't actually mean friend. If someone says, look, mate, they're not trying to bond with you. They're loading the argument. Let's do some quick examples. Friendly. All right, mate, how you doing? The next one, angry. All right, mate, what's your problem? All right, mate, what's your problem? All right, mate, what's your problem? See the difference? Tone. Same word, two different tones. All right, mate, how you doing? All right, mate, how you doing? All right, mate, what's your problem? There we go. Two different worlds. Now, how to use these without being too awkward. If you're learning English and you want to use some British terms of endearment, here's the golden rule. Understand before you try them. So understand them before you try them, because using them wrong can sound forced. Here are some safe options. Option 1, mate, with people you know. If you're talking to someone casually, mate is usually safe if your tone is friendly. Now, option 2, don't use any, just be friendly. You can just say, hi, you alright? Thanks. And you still sound natural. Option 3, mirror the local vibe. If everyone in that area is saying love and duck, then you can try it after you've heard it a lot. But if you do it too early, you might sound like a tourist doing a really bad impression. And lastly, tone matters more than the word. If you say it with confidence, it's charming. And if you say it like a robot reading a phrase book, it's terrifying. All right, that's British terms of endearment. So now I want you to comment 2 things. What country are you from? And what's the most common term of endearment where you live? And tell me the funniest one you've heard in English. Bonus points if you got called duck and panicked. And if you want more real British English slang, phrases, and stuff we actually say, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching, my ducks. And remember, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.